Good evening, everyone. It's Tuesday night, and typical for a Tuesday night is the show and share program. Looks like we're packed with a full house, and that's great. We also have a list of a lot of shares. And I'm looking forward to seeing things that can inspire me, that, oh, wow, I could make that and get yet another rabbit hole I can go down. We all know what that's like, right? But let's start it off with the Cobra Commander War Machine.
Let's see here. Sorry, it took me a moment to get set up. It was just kind of a sudden thing. There we go. So, as you all know, last time this was a Terminator version 1. I kind of changed up the direction just a little bit. This is now going to be a Cobra Commander War Machine for the 4th of July. I've already purchased the Cobra Commander stickers. I've got the Cobra Commander G.I. Joe doll. I've got the Destro doll, and I got that lady too. That what's her name? I forget her name, but I got her too. And I'm going to be mounting them all along the machine here, and they're going to be riding as it's firing fireworks. And I think an important addition to note is this is fully Lego compatible on both sides of the tank here, of the tracks. And so now I've got a modular system where if I just have Lego compatible hardware, then plug and play, rock and roll. As you will note, it's not quite done yet. Unfortunately, my 3D printer crapped out on me, and I don't have wheels yet for the trailer hitch. And I have a buddy of mine that's going to be making me a better version that holds the pyrotechnic ignition hardware for the trailer part. So this is going to be modified for a better version next time you see it. And I don't know if you're going to see wheels on the bottom of it. We'll see. What I will note is I didn't know the height that the wheels I would need or find out in the world. So I also added female Lego nodes for the bottom of it, so I can, again, plug and play, rock and roll, and there you go. So yeah, questions, comments, concerns?
So you've got a Cobra Commander-driven rocket-shooting robot toy that is also Lego.
Yes.
How does it feel to win that hard?
Feels good. Feels real good. Yes.
How many fireworks do you think you'll actually be able to fit on this shoot-off?
Well, depending on, I've thought about that. I'm thinking about either getting like some kind of cheap plumbing piping or just aluminum foil and wrap it in the tubes. I've considered short range fireworks, and it can just run around and all that jazz. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. I have a Flipper Zero on this, and so that's how I'm going to be transmitting the radio frequencies from the web interface to the actual radio receivers. And so I've already pre-recorded some of the signals, and it seems to ignite. I haven't actually field tested this quite yet. I got to find a place to actually do this safely, but that's coming up here in a few days, I guess. But right now, my 3D printer is down, and so we are going to be going to crunch time, and I've got a print head on the way, and I got a buddy of mine that's helping me out a little bit, so we'll see how things go. Yes, ma'am. It has wires that goes from this transmission. It has positive and negative wires, and what it looks like to me, I've already examined the wires that I've already got in my house I forgot to bring. It's all it does is just heats up a wire, right? And that's how it heats up the fuse, and boom, there you go. You got one lit fuse. Yes, ma'am.
A couple of questions.
Yeah.
One, how many like fuses can you control with the clipper in your setup? And then two, are you going to use fuses to like chain multiple fireworks from the same detonator?
I like the way you think. Yeah. I have a set of 12 igniters, so I can do a flat, even 1-to-1 ratio of 12 igniters. I could do an array if I really wanted to, but I don't think I'm going to go that crazy. I don't think this year. Maybe next year if I do this again. I don't know, but we will see. Yes, ma'am.
So you're gonna record it, right?
Yes, I'm definitely going to record this, and you're going to see it on USB nets. Absolutely. Yes. Anyone else? Oh, yes, ma'am.
As a female fan, her name is the Baroness.
The Baroness. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah.
I will try to not think about the fact that all their plans are spoiled.
Well, you know, maybe she lives for another day or something. I don't know, but we'll see. So, anyone else? Well, great. If you guys want to see a demo, I'll be doing that after the show and share, so you'll be able to see how this thing works. So yeah, talk to you then.
I hope you mean without fireworks.
Good promises.
Gee, that could be really explosive. But for now, let's go on to some wee whittled wood and charas. If you want, you can pull the mic down to your height.
I made a boat for my grandma to go as a decoration in her condo. It started out as a rectangle, and I used the handsaw to saw down like this and then down like this to get the chunk of wood out. And for my birthday, I got some nice, I forget what they're called. Yeah, gouges. And I used it to carve the indentation right here. And as you can see, I kind of scarred some of the wood right here. And then I used my knife that is cheap, and I like smoothed down the edges to get a curve and to get this like thing. So I also did that for the roof to get a curve, and I made this flag to go right here. Yeah. So I also made these books. I just thought of something really simple and easy I could use my gouges with. So, and I painted them. So, that's it.
I didn't see any Band-Aids. No Band-Aids, she's a pro. I think Bill has something to worry about with his spoon carving, right? And his whittling. Next up, we have Spy Bike Folding Motorcycle with Steven. If you need to zoom in and out, you can use this.
Okay. All right. I did not bring my motorcycle into the room here, but it's out in my car. So if you want to come out and see me drive it around, just come outside. Now, this is a project I did about 15 years ago. And what this is a electric scooter, and it folds up into this briefcase. So that's why I say I'm a spy. You know, you don't see that I've got my motorcycle with me. The big deal was trying to get the thing to fit. And so that's the briefcase there. And that was before I painted it and all this sort of thing. That was a lot of work to get that to fit in there. So anyway, but I did get it in. And so that's a close-up of it there. And it occupies about 2/3 of the depth of it, so that gave me a little more room to put like the handlebars and that sort of thing in there. Now, once I got it going, I really didn't spend a lot of time trying to get it back in the suitcase because I just wanted to make sure, well, did it go fast enough? You know, did it have enough range and all that sort of thing? And it would go about 15 miles an hour, and it'd go about 5 miles before the battery ran down. But the short wheelbase on it made the thing kind of unstable. So that's, if you mash on the brake, you might fall over the handlebars and all that sort of thing. So it's like it needed a second or third pass on it. Well, I said, you know, 5 miles, that's not really enough. So, you know, maybe I just need to find a way to fold a bicycle into this briefcase. And I looked at that and I had a design on paper. Well, then I went to some bicycle show and I saw where somebody had already made a folding bicycle. And I says, well, okay, we'll let that go. And speaking of people doing this sort of thing, all right. Hold on.
It'll flip when you don't want it to.
Yeah, okay. Well, here, somebody actually made a gadget like that, and I think it was Honda or something, but see here, they just had the wheels and handlebar and all that unfold from it as opposed to trying to pull it out and put it together. Because when you unfold it, you really have to tighten a lot of screws and stuff like that. But you can come out there and you could see that. Now, my motivation for this is kind of political and everything. I'm trying to save energy, you know, saying you can ride the bus if you can find a way to get that 3 miles to the bus, get on the bus, and then get to your other end of the bus line and get to the rest of the way to your office or whatever. So I'm trying to save energy here, so hopefully I'll get something going here. And then I even made a website, and all these people would come and make comments and stuff like that. And I even reserved the address spybike.com. Then after I gave up, somebody offered me $500 just for the name. Sold, you know, so. Anyway, so it was just an adventure of trying to get on the web and show this, had them on the website and all this sort of thing. And people would comment and said, you realize if you take a battery on a bus, if it's bigger battery than just a laptop computer, that's not legal. Oh, uh-oh. So what am I going to do about that? And obviously you can't take it on an airplane. So this was a big adventure. So, and afterwards come out and I'll show it to you. And it's not very stable, so I probably won't let you drive it, but you can watch me drive it. So anyway, all right, any questions?
How heavy is it?
Well, I didn't have a fancy aluminum welder, had a steel welder, so this is all steel. This is like 60 pounds. That's another thing. I'd have to go out and get me a better welder and find a way to make it lighter, because yeah, it's 60 pounds, that's too much. All right.
What weight did you have it designed for?
I just did it with available parts. I've not done a second pass to say, if I did it again with aluminum, could I get that 60 down to 40 or 30? I don't know.
Well, I meant in terms of passenger. What weight did you want to
Oh, how big can a guy be? I don't know. I will say that Honda, you look at that, guy, I'd say they did it. Because that looks like a 300-pound guy there. So, I mean, it's possible. All right.
So when are you guys having the race?
Well, if I'm the only person there, you know I'm going to win. You know, I have seen these Lime scooters, and I took a business trip to Washington, D.C. once and rented a Lime scooter, and I had a blast on that. And so that's another business model where if you just have a lot of these scooters laying around where you could just jump up, get out your cell phone and pay for it and drive it around, you know, that's really the way it ought to work, as opposed to trying to carry this on the bus. So that's another competing system. So.
Could you put wheels on the container?
Wheels on the,
The thing that you're saying the bike is, this thing's like a little heavy to carry.
oh, I see what you're saying. Casters on the briefcase itself. Well, this is a briefcase, just your standard sized briefcase. And I have seen at airports that people have luggage and the handle comes up and you got casters on the luggage. So yes, that would be possible to do something like that. So, all right, anything else?
Well, if you did that, it would save you from stowing the handlebars, because the handlebars would be telescoping in.
Yeah, so this is 15 years ago. I've kind of given up. But anyway, I'd like to say I inspired people. Maybe I inspired Honda to make their thing. You know, they could have read my website 15 years ago. I don't know. All right. Anything else? All right, well, thank you, and come. Come out in the parking lot later.
Thank you, Stephen. I'm sure you'll have a couple folks join you out there just to see it, how small it is. Next up, we have Tootsie with a quilt made with mostly love.
It's pretty small. Hi. I'm Tootsie. About, gosh, almost 2 years ago at this point, I guess like 18 months, a friend of mine called me and said that she was having a baby on my birthday. So I did what I always do and immediately went and chose the most complicated birthday baby gift that I possibly could. And the baby's been born. He'll be a year old next month. And his quilt is almost finished, so I wanted to show you guys. Yeah. Da, 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 da. It was actually supposed to be a bit larger. There are 8 more blocks that just didn't make the final cut because I ran out of time. So that will be a quilt for his little brother, maybe. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. All of the fabric was from the scrap pile in the fiber arts room, which was really cool, except for I had to buy a large swath of green beans for the back, which were inspired by the green bean fabric that I found. And I'll pass it around, but there is actually, I'm just a little bit from being totally finished with the binding, so be gentle. But yeah, it was really fun, and it's mostly made with love because sometimes I regretted some decisions. And I appreciate I feel like a lot of people in this room came back and asked me what I was doing, and I told them that I was hitting my head against the wall, and they were really encouraging, and so I appreciate all of that. And I also just wanted to say that I am not going to be at the Makerspace for a year because I'm doing some traveling, but everybody in this room that I have met and haven't met. This place is really, really amazing. It's been such an important part of my life in Knoxville, and all of you and all of the work that you guys have all done, especially the people on the board and all of the czars and all the people who've put so much time and energy into this have really made a huge impact on my life. And this is an awesome community. If you're new here, stick around. You have no idea what it's gonna contribute to your life. And just a big thank you and a hug to everybody, and I will see you in a year.
So do you think you'll be making anything while you're on the road, Tootsie? You'll be able to bring back and share with us? I hope so. All right. We maybe get something. All right. Next up, we have Bronco. I need to learn how to read. With a hand-carved wooden spoon. And he did sign up twice, so I won't make you come up and sit back down. The second thing is the floor restoration at the Maubrey Hazen House.
G'day, how you doing? So actually what I'll start with is probably the Mabry Hazen House. So does everyone know what the Mabry Hazen House is? Yeah. For anyone who doesn't know, it's I think it's one of the oldest intact historic homes that literally still has all the same wallpaper on the walls, the furniture, like everything. So basically a museum. And my good friend Patrick, he is the director of the Mabry Hazen House. And we were chatting about multiple things about historic homes. I own a couple of historic properties, getting things done and that sort of thing. And he mentioned that he's having trouble with the floor downstairs in the basement level, which is for the servants' quarters. And I said, look, I'm happy to come take a look and let's see if we can do something with it. So we got there, and see if we get that in there. And that was the state of the floor to start with. There we go. Basically, looks like termites had got in there, and so on the surface level, that's what we, assumed anyway. You can also see there's been some little patchwork here. Someone's done it at some point. Sorry, there you go. So around there. And so I came in to have a look, and we started pulling up boards, and I said to him, look, we're not going to know until we start pulling these boards up how bad things are. And it was really bad. So basically we just started pulling these things up, and the boards were just disintegrating. And that was just a few of them there. And what we did was, because we were trying to restore and keep as many of the original boards as possible. So you'll see the little stickers along the top there. That's because we numbered every single board. We put some masking tape down, numbered which position it was. And if we decided we had to cut a piece of the board off to preserve some of it, we would then label it A, B, or C. And so that way we would know what piece we were replacing. So I don't actually have a picture of the original beams that were underneath there, but they were like rough hewn beams, and they were just straight in the clay. So naturally that's just absorbing a lot of moisture and attracting termites. Termites love wet wood. So we trenched out basically where the old beams were. We put some brick supports underneath to just separate them from the clay, and then ran pressure treated 2x4s. So one thing we were looking at doing as well was, we were hoping to be able to preserve some of the things like the old square nails and that sort of thing. But the reality was, square nails, they're just mild steel. When they're in wood like that, that's wet all the time, they were just rusting out completely. So there was no real way to save that. The second thing is when you use any pressure-treated lumber, if you don't know, you can't use regular nails or screws in them, because the chemicals in the pressure-treated lumber will basically disintegrate or corrode regular screws over time. So you actually have to use either decking screws, which are ceramic coated, or you have to use your hot dipped galvanized nails. So we had to make some changes, but this was more of a kind of a rehabilitation rather than an original kind of, preservation. There's 3 different terms they use, and I always forget which one means what. But yeah, so there's that's putting the initial runners down. We had to also then build some supports to keep the bricks from falling from the pavers in the back there. And then we just went through the process. Now, the other interesting thing is these boards, they don't make boards that thick anymore. They were all 1 inch and 1/8 thick. And every single board was a different width. So, you can't buy boards like that, and you can see those spots where they replace them with regular 3/4 inch, thick boards. And you obviously had the different levels going. So we obviously didn't want to do that. So we actually ended up getting a bunch of 2x8s and milling them down. So Patrick spent a couple of weekends with me coming in here, milling the boards down, planing them, jointing them, sending back a few that became twisted after 3 days because that's what you get at Home Depot. And then we were able to get the boards to the right size, but then once we milled them down, then on site, we would have to rip them to the correct dimensions to fit for each piece. So, so that was that. This took place over about 4 weeks, multiple different, like 1 day here, 1 day there, that sort of thing. It wasn't consistent. And basically the finished project, that was the furthest we got at one point. And then the biggest thing they wanted to do is for this week is Juneteenth. So they wanted to have it ready for the tours they're going to be doing down there and then some of the events they're running for that. And so this is that's Patrick. That's the finalized boards. And so we also pulled up the old pavers, recompacted everything, relaid the pavers so that it all matched up. And that's the finished product. So it's very stable now. It doesn't bow under your feet. The only thing left we thought we might do is just maybe try and stain them to try and get them as dark as possible to match, because those boards, they are pine. They're either pine or fir, we're not sure 100%. But they're just with so much dirt and age and everything, they're almost black in color, as you can see there. So we figured we'd just try and stain them to get it as close as possible so that, it looks decent. So yeah, so that's that project. So bit of fun, yep.
So when you took all the floor out, was that ground that was clay, like dirt, earth?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was actually really interesting. So Patrick and I forget her name, one of the ladies that works there as well, they were having a ball digging through the dirt because apparently it was very common for like the servants to actually like put bones under the earth there. And so they were trying to find bones because of like, whatever they were doing. So I don't understand the details, but it was actually funny watching him pick out lumps of coal, bones, and random things, getting really excited about it. So yeah, so that was part of that process. But yeah, any other questions? Yes.
Do you know what year the house dates back to, and did y'all find any like pottery pieces or stuff that's not coal?
I don't believe we saw any pottery. There was some bits of glass. We did find some old bottles, some old like whiskey bottles and that sort of thing. Actually fully intact ones too, which was really cool. I can't remember exactly when the house was built, but it was something like, it predates the Civil War. So yeah. So yeah, any other questions? Cool. So for my second project, I've been meaning to try and get into one of the spoon carving classes and haven't been able to make it. So I just figured, to hell with it, I'm just going to make one anyway. And so I have a bunch of cherry that I've got in my storage and some weird pieces that I had offcuts of, and I was like, okay, that'll be perfect stock. And so I went through the process of trying to figure out how to carve a spoon. Without any training or assistance. And this is kind of like, let's see. So that was the blank. So I got 2 blanks out of 1 piece. And that was like my kind of first part of my attempt. Basically, you just have your block of wood. You just hand sketch a rough shape. Then I took it to the bandsaw, kind of cut around the shape, like so, just followed the curves. And then once I got the rough shape out, I just started carving at it with a knife. I have a Mora knife. I don't have a proper Sloyd knife, which is apparently mostly used for carving. And I figured out why, because a Mora knife like this, the standard 4-inch blade, is actually quite long when you're trying to do any kind of whittling. And there was a couple of times where I got very close to cutting myself by accident just because I was moving quick. And realizing when you're trying to do some positions, like it just kind of sweeps that way. So the shorter blade, it makes it a much easier to control. But I was able to use that for the most part, but also that initial carving of the bowl part, I was actually using a 1/4-inch chisel to do it because I didn't actually have the hook knife. And so I'd ordered it on Amazon and I was waiting for it to arrive. And when I finally got it arrived, then I finished the job. So at that point, I ended up with this. Whoop, wrong way. There we go. Yeah. So there was a few things here that I like. Initially, like carving the bowl as well, I tried to do a bit with a Dremel and I didn't have the right stuff to do it properly. And it was just like burning out the bits that I was using. And it was taking so much longer. It was much faster to just try and chisel it out or gouge it out with the small chisel. But then once I got the hook knife, it made the process so much easier. And you can see it's kind of pretty deep for a spoon, I guess. And then on the outside, I tried to refine it and like carve by hand more and more. And then when I went to sand it, I ended up with all these quirky little divots, and I kind of like it actually. Gives it a little funky detail that you wouldn't normally see in a spoon, I feel like. One of the biggest challenges I had with it though was figuring out the grain direction. So you're going around these curves and like for 1 minute, like it's carving great, and then you hit a spot and it just wants to take chips out or in complete chunks. It's like the grain's going the wrong direction again. And so it was like figuring out how to carve it without creating that problem over and over. And multiple times I had to fix my mistakes, which is why it's not perfectly even. I mean, I guess it's never going to be perfectly even, but yeah. So the only thing left to do with it is actually finish it. I haven't decided what kind of oil. I could use mineral oil or maybe a peanut oil or something. I don't know. But if anyone's got any suggestions, I'm all ears. And yeah, and that's just an example of the blank itself before it's cut. Oh, that was also a fun thing. I was trying to make a maker's mark, and I just had a piece of mild steel that I just hand filed. I drew a little pattern on it. The problem is I forgot to reverse it, so it's backwards. So there you go. But yeah, any questions? This is cherry. Yeah, and the challenge of it is it's not kiln dried, which is good because kiln dried would be almost impossible to carve. It was air dried. I got it from Zavel's Farms where they do raw lumber and that there. But it's definitely a lot harder to carve than greenwood. Greenwood's much nicer and easier to carve, a lot more forgiving. This definitely had its challenges. There was a lot of muscle to try and get through some of it. So, but yeah, yes. I got the Mora knife, hook knife, and that was, I think it was about $30. So, yeah, I had some options to get some cheaper ones that came in a kit, and it just, too many reviews I read of them snapping on people, and I just decided to spend a little extra. So basically what I paid for the knife is probably what I would have paid for a kit. But I'm very happy with it. It does great, so. Cool. Any other questions? Sweet. Thank you.
I think you may have inspired something for a Christmas gift on someone's list. Also, that spoon is deep enough to actually get a good swallow of soup in there. That's great. Up next, we have a cardboard solution to the cardboard problem. Walter, can you come tell us more?
So I'm a big fan of the draft format for Magic the Gathering, and so every week I'm going out and I'm opening packs of cards,
and then I need to put them somewhere afterwards. And I'm really particular about how I store my cardboard because I need them to be in the white color, the blue color, the white, the blue, the black, the red, the green, the gold, the colorless, the land. That's 8 different piles. And I've got these nice 3D printed stackers that I made that I'm quite happy with because I can stack them 8 tall, but then sometimes they fall over. There are cardboard boxes that people sell for storing Magic cards in the 1,000 and 5,000 count, but the problem with that is they only hold 6 of these. I need to hold 8 of them. And so I figured, well, if I'm gonna be buying a cardboard box anyway, I might as well learn how to make my own cardboard box. And this was fun because I've made things on the laser where I'm using finger joints, which you conveniently can't see because I chose to use tape instead of glue, because I'd never made a box out of cardboard before, and I was like, hey, I can get away with a lighter fastener than I normally have to. And so it's easy for me to wrap my head around how to make this type of box, but making one where it's all one sheet that needed to be folded took some doing. So it started with me getting 8 of these, laying them out, and manually making my net and seeing how it folds up. And I'm like, oh, well, I've got an issue here, I've got an issue there. Iterating a couple of times in Onshape and Inkscape until eventually I got to this box here, which I'm pretty happy with because it's designed so that this lip and that lip line up perfectly so cards can be just dropped in. The intention was, oh, maybe I'll make a lid for them. And I could do that, or I could just continue to stack them on top of each other like I've been doing because they stay on top of each other pretty well that way. So it was a fun learning process in learning how to fold a box up. And of course, since I was playing with cardboard anyway, and it's unrealistic for me to do this for every set, just the 16 sets that are in standard, I needed a prettier way to utilize the existing cardboard that I had. So I've been playing around with making set identifiers on Moonraker so that for each of the different sets that I'm not storing like a madman, I can then have them be easily findable. That's all I got. Any questions? Yeah.
Are you creasing the cardboard by hand or using some sort of jig or tool? Or
I am using a, I'm doing a lighter score on the laser, which has been working well enough, but for, you can see here, there's a really weak point here that definitely would benefit from a jig. It's working a lot better now that I've just been folding the cardboard more, because it turns out, yeah, no, actually I want to bend it over the 90 degrees that I want it to sit at so that it will not be constantly trying to go back to its original position. So it's been a fun learning process. Also, it's a very cheap learning process because cardboard is free. All right, thank you for your time.
It's amazing what all you can do with cardboard. And that is all the people that had signed up. Oh, we have a share coming up.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't know there was a sign up button.
Okay. Oh, well, it's okay. We like new people to come up and share too. All right. We have 2.
Okay, this is an oil painting that I made some years ago that I'm considering painting over again with some more vibrant colors towards the foreground to give it more depth. I decided to bring it up because I don't know if I want to dive back into it or if that'll just overwork it and I should leave it alone, and so I wanted more people's opinions on it. Also, this happens to be the painting that was on my portfolio website that the wonderful people at Knox Makers here chose to put as the picture for the painting class I'm teaching. So it just reminded me of it and made me think, oh, this could be better, that could be better. So I thought it would be a fun thing to bring up and kind of get group opinions on because the light is not hyper realistic, but I wanted it to be slightly abstracted, but not too like expressionistic, not too Van Gogh where you have like the beams showing. And I feel like it just hasn't hit that right point yet, so I'm wanting feedback.
Can you hold it up a bit?
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I'd change a thing.
So why don't you put it up on the art wall and have like a vote of yes or no, if you should change it or not?
That's a great idea. Okay, thank you.
You know what the art wall is?
It's in the arts and crafts area, right? Okay. I know what the area is. Yes.
I have an oil pick set that I've never used, so if you have any tips on how to use oil picks, I'd love to hear them.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was thinking I'm gonna be doing several different painting classes here at Knox Makers, which is the reason I joined up. I found out about y'all at Dogwood Arts, but I was teaching painting there. So we will definitely, if there's a need for an oil painting class, we can use that set. I would suggest you go to the painting class that I'm having in July. That's just next month. It starts not the first Saturday of July, because that's July 4th, but the second Saturday of July, and it's just painting basics. So we won't be using the oil paints then, but you'll learn how to paint with acrylics in a way that then you can transfer those skills to oils. Yes.
Have you considered, instead of fixing it, doing a study on it and repainting it?
She said. I went to art school. I was like, I did it really big. It was actually a school assignment. I didn't tell that much about it, but it's entitled "He Isn't Coming," and it's built on the classic literary princess / lady in waiting motif without having any markers of modernity or like putting it at any time, so that it's sort of like a fable or a legend, or I tried to kind of make it timeless but also feel romantic. So yeah, that's a great idea though. I should do this.
I really like it, and I think it would be really nice to put them side by side, so then you can see how you improved on it, and they.
Yes. Okay. Oh, and you know what? That could be really cool because I just now thought of this. It's me. I didn't have a model, so I just like had a friend take a picture of me, and I've changed since then. So that would be a great way to celebrate that for myself. Any other questions? All right, great. Thank you. This has been really helpful.
That was a great lead-in, and I liked all the suggestions. Joe, you said you had something you wanted to share with us.
Hey, everybody. On Thursday, we had a tour come through. It was the kids at Knox County School, or Knoxville Schools, not the county, sorry, Knoxville Schools, that are part of the Elevate program. They came through, saw a lot of the things in the shop, and were really turned on. When they came through over here, a few of us were doing different things in the shops, and they came through the metalworking zone and kind of showed them a couple of things about welding a little bit, you know, like had a couple things there, gave them all shields to look through, hit the welder, and one of the kids was like, ah, ran to the other side of the room, was a little bit scared at first, but coaxed him back, and everything's good. So started putting some things together, and then I'm like, so anybody want to try it? And then they got involved and started putting some things together, and here's what we all made. So it was all scrap stuff that we had in the welding shelves over there. They've named him Charles the Bug. drew a little bit of inspiration. David Ruddy used some of these casters for eyes on a crab that he made, and I really liked the effect, so it lended itself real nice over here. But yeah, it was neat. They started putting some stuff together, and then it just built, and they were like, let me weld some more, let me do some more stuff. So, but yeah, it was kind of fun to do and to turn their lights on to it. They'd never really seen a welder or done anything like that before, so it was kind of cool to have them all involved making this guy. But yeah, Chuck the Bug. Oh, sorry, Charles. I don't know if he's comfortable being called Chuck. Yeah. Okay, thanks.
I remember one of the pictures from the first Dogwood you were at. You had a young man that a man's shirt was on the floor, and he had his welding hood on, and he was doing it, which I bet you're going to do it for the market.
She was 3 years old.
Oh, she? Oh, 3 years old and welding. What an inspiration. Yeah. So, speaking of the market, I think we have one coming up, October 4th. So, yeah. So, I'm not sure. Aliki, have you started asking for volunteers yet, or is that not yet?
We're still getting booth people that want to present. We're getting there.
Okay, we're getting vendors though.
It'll be August that I start asking for volunteers.
Okay, so August is volunteers, and I think, Sean, are you in here somewhere? We were doing some posters. I don't know if he's going to do another poster jam. I see a finger point. Oh, wow. No wonder I didn't see you. You were right behind me. I don't know if are we going to do another poster jam? Okay. That's great. So, yeah, we're trying to get that up. We also have the little bauble machines. You might have seen the little baubles on the grocery store, and your kids have pointed to them. I want that. For 50 cents, you roll and you get something out of it. For us, we make something that goes in those little baubles. So if you can think of anything that you can make, we had one maker make the baubles and then put the money in them. But if you can think of anything that you would like to make and contribute, it's welcome, so we can fill up that mystery machine. It's currently in Arts and Crafts at the end of the shelves if you want to take a look at what we've got currently. For other announcements, we've got, as you know, the cookout. I would like to give a round of applause to our chefs. They do an excellent job every week. And a personal thanks to everyone who brought food. It's optional, but it sure makes it fun to try out all the different goodies. Then the one last thing we have to do is clean up. So if you could help eat the rest of the stuff or package it up and take it home, or take your stuff, help clean up a little bit, that would be greatly appreciated, because that's always a big chore. As for classes, we've got a book, Bedazzling, that's coming up, looks like tomorrow night. And bedazzling is those little jewels it's canceled. Okay. All right. That's canceled. I'm looking for other classes that there's tickets still available. You could look at the kinds of classes that we have on knoxmakers.org/events. But we have an embroidery machine off, one ticket open for that. We have a woodworking 101, excuse me, on June 20th, and a crossbow class on June 20th as well, that there are tickets for. And my voice is telling me I should probably shut up and let us all go out and make stuff. So why don't we do that now? Bye, little Yoda.